Good day guys, come here, welcome back to Langrisser M News from the future. So alright, on part 2 of this video, we will be showcasing the second hero that is being released in October 2023 in the CN server. He is none other than Hofmann. So as you can see, this is a character right now, and he's holding a freaking big shoe, a shoe that is so big that at first I totally didn't notice that he's having like a fencer's sword on the left, and well, the man with the squinting eyes, aka what we what we call it in Mandarin, it's Mimi, and normally we call it Mimi, and those that means people with squinting eyes are apparently supposed to be very strong, like monsters. Like one reference you can go back to is like Bleach. You know one of the captain. You know that captain. He's always squinting his eyes, and yep, he's freaking strong. So alright, are you guys ready? A great good thanks to information shared and provided by the Langrisser mobile app, and let's get started. So alright, Hofmann is voiced by Mr. Daisuke Namikawa, and he voiced personally I don't quite recommend why they're using these two characters, and sadly I don't really watch these two show. On the left is Aslan Senki, the War of Adventure of War of Aslan, and the other one is Captain Tsubasa. No, sorry, not Captain Tsubasa. Sorry, Tsubasa Chronicle. And sadly, I didn't watch it too. However, I do know that he has previously voiced two characters that I exceptionally like and know about. One is from Bleach, from one of the hollow characters, the top rankers. As a top 4 is none other than Urukira Cypher. Then the other one is, well, one of the shows, I think the recent years and even more recent will be Tokyo Ghoul. He voiced Kisho Arima, the strongest huntsman of Ghoul. So yeah, that's it. And then okay, so let us go through some basic information about Hofmann is that he's born from a faraway land, or maybe the edge of the countryside, as a rich man. He's like a landlord of the countryside or from faraway land, and he managed to squeeze into the royalty and work his way there. So the royalty, in the eyes of the royalty, they hate him. Is indespicable in their eyes, because he's kind of go from just being rich as a nobody to manage to climb up his rank to become a commander, and not to mention that the soldiers that he leads love and protects him with lots of love, because he's known as the Kingdom's Shoe Hofmann. Though it's mentioned that he has some greed, he has some things that he want to fulfill, that he have to make use of. Well, that definitely he's going to make use of people around him. And the next thing is that he has some weird ability. I'm not sure that the way they describe it is that it's able to travel freely in the face of danger, and in this way I do not know, are they talking about the real danger situation, or maybe in politics, when those royalties are talking about bad stuff about him, but he's able to resolve it, freely travel around the situation, and always turn out safely. But he appeared as a very well-mannered guy in front of Team Roland. So Roland and Priscilla, who is the protagonist of the 6.0 story, and to find out more about him behind the mask, we'll need time to find out. So that's basically the explanation they gave. Okay, then we'll go through a bit of characters relationship, then we'll go to the voice, simple voice pack, then we'll go to his talent, skills, and 3C. So because the characters released thus far are still not a lot, and he has not much relationship with anyone. So the only one that is close right now is with the princess, Ashen, yep. Okay, so the reason that she allows him to gain so much power and make use of and allows him to gain such a high position is that Hofmann managed to resolve a rebellion war or civil war in the kingdom of Sabaric, and he managed to also kill the frontline enemy sent by the Empire. And this is why Princess Ashen gave him the rank of commander, and also title him as the Kingdom Shoe. However, it is stated that the greed of Hofmann does not stop there. He is not complacent with the glory that his gain currently are in front of him. And apparently, they end at this last part is that he gained his side behind this young Asian princess, the whole land of Gold Plains. So I'm not sure does it refer to a really Gold land, but I'm gonna presume Gold Plains is talking about the wheat and stuff the country goes, I suppose, unless it's referring to other like magical resources. And then there's a chibi characters of Hofmann drawn by Granda Curie, Mao Xiaotu, Liana. Yep, and as usual, her artwork on chibi characters are very nice. So okay, let us listen to how Hofmann sound in Langrisser.
ご存知のように帝国の勢力は猛攻を極め、前線は常に緊張状態だ。君が来てくれて僕はとても満足だよ。
So apparently what it's saying is that, as you can see, the barrage of fierce attack causing from the Empire has caused the front line to continuously to be in the tough situations. However, with your arrival, it truly made me feel safe and pleased. So like the usual stuff, like Gin from Bleach, he's like a kind who always talk honorifically to others. He will give praise or in common terms, Blanton, we talk about he like to flatter people or bootlicker. So, however, he does all this in order to achieve his objective. So it doesn't mean he's weak or etc. At least in the story. Okay, let's hear again before we go on to the next sections.
ご存知のように帝国の勢力は猛攻を極め、前線は常に緊張状態だ。君が来てくれて僕はとても満足だよ。
So I really gotta say, well, this voice, despite he sounds like he's flattering you or belittling you, however, the words that came out from his mouth sends chills to my spine. It's just like as if after this flattering from him, if you try to say any unmannered stuff or taking any unmannered actions against him, your head's gonna fall. That's the kind of aura he gave, and well, kudos to Mr. Daisuke Namikawa again. So alright, we're going to the next sections featuring the faction, talent, skills, and 3C. Here we go. So alright, Hofmann, we have come to the skill sections, and first off with faction buff, and to my surprise, despite the descriptions about him being an ambitious guy and scheming something in his plan due to his greed to achieve something, his faction buff consists of Glory of Light, Tactical, and Meteor. So apparently there is no darkness in him, so I hope, I'm gonna presume that he ambitious is hopefully to lead to something good, kind of like what Gin does in Bleach. Yep. So, and there's a chance that maybe he will, just spoiler, just my premonitions, he might die towards the end of this story arc, trying to save Ashen's or the protagonist's side. Okay, then to his talent, and it's one of the most confusing one to me, and will apologize that if I do not did a great job in this talent explanation. We may only be able to find out more during the demo play, and watch to the end for the translations I have done for you guys. Or well, if you're not interested, you can just straight away forward to the end for the translations of the skills and effect. So alright, his talent is known as Reverse Shoe of Planning, or you may call it anti-clockwise Shields of Planning, which just sounds very weird, so Reverse Shields of Planning sounds nicer. Okay, so that you can see is kind of break into two parts. Apparently his talent is kind of unique too. He can summon a shoe, so the talent looks a bit long, so follow me on the first part first. So number one, increase his attack and defense by 30% at rank 6. So this is pretty cool because 30% is a lot. That is 10% more than your usual faction buff. Number two, when you end your turn, you can summon a Kingdom's Shoe. Number three, if there is an own Kingdom's Shoe already on the field, you can teleport it to 2 blocks around you. So what this means is that on the previous turn you will first summon it. So on the second turn, if you manage to move away from the shoe, you can teleport it to 2 blocks, any 2 blocks location around you. That's not bad. However, there is a CD of 2 turns upon triggering this teleportation effect. And this summon effect is known as Wing Shoe Radiance. The range is 4 blocks. So the effect are as follow. Summon a Kingdom's Shoe which inherit the summoner class and 90% of his stats. So just by looking at it, for my opinion, I'm gonna say it's pretty bad or low because just stats wise, a lot of heroes most of the time, even the lowest I can remember is at least 100%, then to 110 to 120% characters like Elma, and a maximum of no more than 150% like Akaya. But for Hofmann it's only 90% stats. That sounds very low. We shall find out more. Hopefully there's something to redeem this factor about him. Okay, so that is for his talent. Then next I'm going to talk about the talent of the shield. So yeah, the shield itself do have some talent and effect. Kingdom's shield talent are as follow. Number 1, it will be unable to 1. Move, 2. Attack, 3. Position shift, 4. Heal. So these are the 4 things it cannot be able to do: move, attack, position shift, nor heal. So this is very similar to the 3C of Wet Ham summoning L Hazard Chaos Blade on the ground. Okay, number 2, the shield is immune to all debuff. So this again similar like the blade. However, it has a very unique thing, that is the third effect is after choosing a defense direction, Kingdom's shield cannot be controlled for 3 turns. And yep, that's it. So of course at this point it sounds a bit weird and useless, but we'll find out more because his exclusive skills and 3C has some combo and synergy with it. Oh, sorry guys, apparently we have not ended yet. So Kingdom Shield has its own skill. So just now that is his talent. I apologize. So now coming to Kingdom Shield skills is known as, I'm gonna highlight this part. Yep. So this skills is known as Glory Garrison. The range, as you can see, is freaking high. That's half of the map, 7 blocks. So the skills are as follow. Number 1, you can choose a 3x7 or 3x7 straight line direction as a defensive range. Number 2, it will gain a command aura effect. The effects are as follow. First, reduce all enemies' attack and intelligence by 15% in its direction range. Second, this effect will last for 4 turns and cannot be dispelled. So okay, this is like a free command aura effect that but basically if you're gonna don't understand how it works or sounds like, you can just imagine that there is a fan in front of you and you switch on the fan and the fan is blowing at its max power. It's blowing against maybe your direction and your eyes, and this causes you to have your attack and intelligence reduced by 15% because you're within the range of the fan. However, the effect will only last for 4 turns. So after 4 turns it kind of become useless, I guess, because apparently they didn't write if there is a CD for the skills where you can trigger it again. So we'll only be able to find out more during the demo play. Okay, exclusive skills 1, but however the shield definitely is gonna do more than that because it definitely has synergy with the skills. Okay, now we come to exclusive skill 1. So as you can see here, it's known as Rebelling Machiavellianism. Okay, or you can, it has another translation that is known as Strategy Against Power. Though rebelling Machiavellianism sounds more unique. Okay, it is a 1C skills, has a CD range and AoE of no, so it do not have any of this category, and it is only a passive skills. The effect are as follow. 1. After dealing damage to enemies, they will randomly gain either of the following debuff: Insight or Saw Discord for 1 turn. So Insight and Saw Discord effect are as follows. So number 2 will be Insight. The effect are reduce enemy soldier range by -1, and before initiating battle, deduct the soldier's HP, the max HP of 30%. And this effect will last for 1 turn, but apparently it can be immune, so in case you are wondering. Then number 3 is Saw Discord. Reduce the hero's range by -1 and unable to act again. So okay, you get either of the following, so sadly I would prefer number 3, which is Saw Discord, because we'll reduce the hero's range by -1 and they will not be able to act again. This is a very great advantage for the allies, especially the recent tier 1 hero like Ashen and also Andril, so they are a close combat soldiers. If they get this debuff effect, when they try to engage into a battle, only the soldiers will be attacking and the hero themselves are not able to attack. So that's pretty cool and awesome. And followed by exclusive skill 2. So he's definitely a more of a AoE type hero because of the synergy you need to go with his shield. Okay, so the second skills is known as Chaos and Conspiracy, or Confusion and Conspiracy. It is a 2C skills, have a CD of 3, the range is 5 units or 5 blocks, and the AoE type is physical straight line. So the effect are as follow: deals 0.3 times AoE damage to enemies in 3 straight lines, so it's gonna be dealing 3 by 5 AoE, 0.3 times, not too shabby. Number 2, cause damage enemies to swap position randomly and can only be able to move in a straight line for 1 turn. Okay, this is awfully similar to the fake Emperor 3C skills from the reincarnations, and apparently this is just a 2C skills and the CD is pretty short. Okay, number 3, if Kingdom's Shield already has chosen he has already chosen a defense direction, it will do an additional 0.1 times AoE damage to enemies in range and all attacking effect, and it will triggers all attacking effect. So slightly confusing here when it mentions about the first part is easy because basically whichever this shield phase, after you cast this AoE skills, it will do an follow-up of 0.1 times to the direction it faced. So meaning if you're facing the direction on the left and this shield is also on the left, the AoE damage will become 0.4 times instead of just 0.3. However, it's known to be treated as 0.3 times plus 0.1 times. The reason I say this is because enemies will have those damage reduction, so if 0.1 times is lower than enemies defend, etc., so the damage deal is will be lower, from my understanding, because it's not dealing fixed damage. And it says the second part is trigger or attacking effect. So for this part, I am not too sure if it's talking about it will trigger the effect from the exclusive skill 1 passive effect, or it refers to the equipment, because what they written here, they did not say about trigger equipment offensive effect, but it just said trigger or attacking effect. So I'm not sure, are they talking about the debuff of swapping place and also traveling in the single directions? So we will be only be able to understand and find out more during the demo play, so apologies. Okay, last but not least is the 3C. Okay, so on contrary to his kingdom's shoe name, the 3C has a much sinister name, or at least that sounds like it to me. Okay, this 3C name is known as Bloodstained Wing Shoe. So yep, as you can see, it's a 3C. It has a CD of 4. The range is Self. The AoE type is physical 3 blocks. That's fairly low. Okay, it has both passive and active skills. So let's go through the passive first. Number 1, if there is an owned Summon Kingdom's Shoe on the field, increase the damage you do by 20%. Okay, that's pretty good, especially his AoE type. So straight on increase every AoE damage by 20%. So his 2C is gonna be like 0.36 times, and his Kingdom Shield follow-up is gonna be 0.12 times. Yep. Okay, but nonetheless, that's free and it's really cool to have an extra 20% self built-in damage. That's pretty good. Okay, active. Active skills are as follow. Number 1, deal 0.36 times damage to enemies 3 blocks around you. Number 2, damage enemies will be unable to heal for 1 turn. Number 3, if enemies already had unable to heal debuff beforehand, this effect will be changed to stun the enemy in addition for 1 turn instead. So in addition to causing enemies to not be able to heal, they will be stunned instead. Then number 4, if Kingdom's Shield has already choose a defensive direction, it will do 0.12 times AoE damage to enemies in its range and directions and trigger or attack effect. So again, the 3C has this confusing statement as the exclusive skills 2 effect about triggering or attack effect. So I'm not sure, does it referring to equipment that you have or any other attack effect. So yep, it's slightly confusing, but if his equipment is gonna be cool, because one thing that come up to me is to give him the Bloodstained Blade, the one that will do an additional fixed 1 times follow-up, 1 times fixed damage based on 50% chances. And or you can go use Scarlet, because he has both Swordsman and also Lance Phalanx class or Lancer class, so he can equip either of the items should this be true. Hey, not to mention that his 3C is pretty cool, that he has this effect, and I can see he can have great synergy with the previous release characters, and he is none other than SP Bernhard. So be it PvE or PvP, this is gonna be a great play as long as you're not fighting boss characters. If you're just trying to like push through the stages on map, Bernhard, characters like Bernhard with balance blade, so he's gonna like go act again, advance, then he's gonna cast sword dance. So enemies that are gonna get unable to receive healing debuff effect, unable to heal, then follow up by Hofmann with his Kingdom's Shield, so he can cause more, or if not most, of the enemies to be stunned instead of unable to heal. This is pretty cool. And if in like those PvE challenge, usually such effect can be used on stages like at least challenge 3, though I'm quite confident that challenge 4 and 5 onwards, the bosses characters are always immune to a lot of stuff. Oh gosh. Then he has a new unit, receiving from new unit, which is a Lancer unit. This is known as Holy Shoe Royal Guards, or Holy Shoe Close Guards. So as you can see, they're holding a Lancer items. It's definitely a Lancer unit. So the effect of the Lancer unit is range damage the soldiers take will be reduced by 15%. When you are standing on non-defensive terrain, increase soldiers attack and defense by 20%. This is for full soldiers tag ability at level 10. Personally, I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, it's just reducing 15% by from range attack, and only for the soldiers. It's not reducing range damage by 15% and full stop, but it's only for the soldiers, and only when you are at non-defensive terrain, increase the attack and defense by 20%. So definitely lose out from the Star Neon Pegasus unit, because they have range damage reduction and they have increment in attack, defense, and magic defense by 25% without any criteria. So at least comparing to the older unit, I'm gonna say Lance Phalanx sounds like a better Lancer than this class. And Lance Phalanx has 30% reduction, and now we are marching on to the 6.0 era, and like seriously 15% reduction. At least give it a 30%. Yep. So that's how I feel. Not sure what you guys think. And yup, we have come to the end of the showcasing effect of Hofmann. So see you guys on next part of video featuring the demo play. And if you like the video, remember to like and subscribe my channel. This is Kami. See you guys and goodbye. Bye.